My name is Unati Sonti, the chairperson of the Maritime Business Chamber. Currently, the Maritime Business Chamber is a voice of the industry, or rather what it seeks to be the voice of the entire industry, as the chamber has been the voice, of the voiceless, the new entrances, which mainly are small businesses. We are gathered currently here in Cape San Francis Bay with a number of, I would say creative minds within the space, young minds that are futuristic, together with a number of, industry players and government entities that we are hoping to forge, relations with them in moving forward with the mandate of a maritime strategy for South Africa. So as we are gathered here, what is on the main of this conversation that we are having here for 3 days, starting from yesterday to Wednesday, it is more focused on how do we build, a voice for the industry, a maritime business chamber that does not only belong to a certain province, but represents the interest of the country. And in the near future as well, the interest of the continent, as we have made those connections within the African continent. We have seen the gap in the maritime sector itself, where there are a number of I wouldn't say individuals, but there are a number of associations, there are a number of bodies that seemingly represents, their immediate interest. But there is no one who is representing the broader interest, of how do we take forward what the government has already put out there as a plan in terms of the greater maritime or oceans economy for the country. So we see ourselves now as playing in that space of being able to being the agents to move the agenda forward beyond government, beyond the private sector.
You've had 4 presentations early Tuesday, and you are still going to have more or less the same number after lunch in the afternoon. And all of these people that are presenting here are big players in their respective spaces, and they seem, from what I have picked up, to be quite keen to assist this process. How do you expect them to assist at all in terms of the presentations they have made? What do you hope to take from that?
In the creation or in the recreation of the Maritime Business Chamber strategy, we felt it was very imperative that we get the industry involved as well, because this is now no longer about a few SMMEs that had issues in entering the sector itself, but now it's about being the voice for even those that are already inside the sector, whether big or small. So having a number of stakeholders who are big industry players being part of the strategy session, it assists us as well, for one, the sense of ownership from the industry itself, because the industry needs to own it as well. But also two, the guidance with regards to how do we take this thing, forward. As you have heard, one of the presenters today, we gathered here with the end mind that we would be able to complete the strategy within the 3 days. But as we were listening, the proposal or the idea that was being tabled to us, let us rather be looking more into the creation of a roadmap towards the strategy itself. In that way, so now this is how the value, we start to see the value from these organizations or individuals that have come in to say they are willing to assist the chamber. And for us, because we now are to be the voice, so the voice of the industry, you need the industry involved. Hence, you've got one of the key industry players as a patron of the industry, because you cannot be a voice of the industry without the industry. And that is for us, why it was very important that we get them involved. And secondly, each and every one of these organizations or individuals, they've got programs. that somehow there was no coordination. So having all of them and all of them seeing each other in the program, it allows them now to see that there can be areas of collaboration. What we are all trying to do, in shaping maritime in the country, it does not only now require a certain grouping to say this is our thing. It requires all of us to put our hands, and to raise our hands and say, here we are and we are ready, to get rolling with this, that we know it's got a great potential of contributing to the GDP of this country, changing and shaping the current landscape of our economy, that we are currently faced with a number of challenges around it.
As a national business institution, in your presentations earlier on, I gathered that this initiative is much broader than it looks, in the sense that you have now established a footprint in some of the provinces. Can you just talk to us about that and where you are with that?
Right. So when the chamber was established, it was about Eastern Cape, looking at the economy of the Eastern Cape. But within and this has happened beyond what we had anticipated, because when we were inaugurated in year 2019 and we crafted a strategy for 2020 to 2022, it was more about how do we affirm and build, structures within the Eastern Cape. But in that, we ended up engaging with other provinces. So now it meant that what we were hoping to do within the province of the Eastern Cape, it ended up now being something that we do nationally. So that is how now, we ended up having a footprint, along all the coastal cities. And that led us now to also being in alliance with other, either forums or small business chambers that have got an interest in the oceans economy in the various coastal cities within the borders of South Africa.
I do understand that the South African Maritime Safety Authority is fully supporting this initiative to a point where the Chamber has signed or is in the process of finalizing a memorandum of understanding. Once more, what does that mean?
For us, we noting that the South African Maritime Safety Authority is a key role player in the maritime affairs of this country. So having relations with such a giant in the space, for us also it brings about comfort within the industry itself to know that we are aligned with the relevant authorities in driving the right agenda for the growth of maritime in the country. But also this also shows that where it says, SAMSA in one of their mandates, promoting the interest of maritime. Now, this is where they are really showing that interest of promoting, because we are a non-profit organization. We are not a state-owned, we are not a state-owned organization, but as part of their mandate, they have now come to us, and in fact, we have come to them to say, in your mandate, we are able to push some of the things that you are mandated to do. And one of those is, promoting the maritime interest of South Africa. So for us, and we have seen how SAMSA has supported the chamber itself, from its inception and up until today, we continue, to see that support. And we believe that we would be able now to spread throughout, the country, and have the impact that we are ought to have on the ground.
Wonderful. This is the final question from me. MV Maritime Business Chamber is now on water, at sea, traveling. Where to? In other words, what are the next few things that we could expect happening with the chamber?
So, right now, as soon as we finalize the strategy itself, we would now be able, to move around the country in establishing what we call chapters, so that we've got now a real footprint on the ground with representatives. So what we have currently in the room where we are, we've got representation in the province of the Western Cape, the province of KZN, and the province of Gauteng, which is an inland. So for us, that speaks volumes in terms of what we are trying to do. And moving forward, we would also now wish to expand on the programs that we have started, such as, the maritime awareness programs that we are doing in education through the Maritime 101. We would now want to expand on those instead of just making them online activities, but also now being able to push them on the ground in preparation to what we are about to do as a country. In fact, as we would be hosting, the IMO a conference in October. So we would be wishing that we would be on the ground moving, from now, trying to also prepare everyone else that we are all, ready, and we understand the mandate that we have in terms of also how do we host the people that are coming, as the world will be coming to us. So the ground needs to be ready. So those are some of the programs that we'll be doing, and making sure that we continue supporting, the small businesses on the ground. As now we have seen even, organizations such as DBSA, they are saying they've got, resources to support some of these things we've been crying about. So what's next? Let's take this information to the ground so that the people can start now engaging on the real economy of the oceans economy of South Africa.
Mr. Soni, good luck with that, and thank you very much for your time. It's truly appreciated.
Thank you, sir.